What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newbee Tuesday. It's a very special edition of Newbee Tuesday because today on Newbee Tuesday, no one has any idea what the fuck is going on, period. So, with us today to help try and explain things is Elise Randolph, expert at FozzieSov. He told me he knows everything about it. So,
yeah, it's like the back of my hand.
he's had so much experience with it. For those of you who don't know who Elise is, he is the... is your title leader of Pandemic Legion, or
I think I'm just a
that
guy.
takes all the blame?
I think I'm just a guy in Pandemic Legion. I sometimes post a lot.
Sometimes post.
Yeah.
Sometimes poster.
If things go bad, I get blamed. But if things go really well, I steal the credit.
If you ever see the battle reports posted on Reddit or the old Kugitzman with a giant picture of Taylor Swift at the very beginning of every post, that was Elise Randolph.
That was definitely me. Yep.
The best battle report writer in the game.
Yeah.
But so starting off, tell us a little bit about FozzieSov. Manny told me you were leading the Pandemic Legion FozzieSov excursions on Duality. So as far as I can tell, being that Pandemic Legion won it, you're probably the forefront expert at this moment.
I mean, that's giving me a lot of credits. I was the one that wanted us to do well in the Duality thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I participated for quite a while. I did a lot of grinding, but most of the time, other people in my alliance, like I'd say about 40 to 50 people in PL, became like the Duality crew, and they did pretty much most of the work. I didn't lead many fleets. I think I led one fleet. I mostly just like listened to music and had like 8 alts Entosising things, and that's about it. But I mean, we've pretty much figured out how to do well in the Duality sense, or the Duality setting,
Right.
which doesn't translate at all to TQ.
Well,
But I mean, I figured out
it
how the
doesn't
buttons
transfer?
work and the weird idiosyncrasies with the capture mechanics, and how valuable having a defense multiplier is, and how annoying it is to capture stuff with like a really high defense multiplier.
So how come, like, you said Duality is nothing like the Tranquility or the sense of it? What do you mean by that? Like,
So on Duality, for the playtest, the Duality server is where they used to basically invite the Alliance tournament teams to participate in locked systems so they could do their practice sessions. And it's basically just a test server, right? So the money is completely worthless, and the market is seeded with pirate implants, faction ships, Alliance tournament ships,
okay.
and things like that. So what I did when I was just AFK grinding, I had a Redeemer and like 6 Cambions. Because the Cambion is essentially the Gila mixed with a Falcon that can also take bridges. So I just bridge myself around from area to area and just do stuff like that.
So
and if anyone came, I just
ridiculous.
jammed them out and just Entosis in peace because my jammers were super strong. And if they came close, I just throw my maxed out Gila Jones on them and they wouldn't stand a chance. It's pretty broken.
That is a little retarded. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, there were like a bunch of cap fights on Duality, which was kind of fun. And the big thing is the limiting factor was actually tie-dye. So like brave newbies would undock in like 40 dreads or something, and we'd escalate. We'd kill their dreads, and they'd be like, okay, time to get in new dreads, but they couldn't jump back in for like 20 more or a few more minutes. So they just physically couldn't get back into the system fast enough. It was really funny. It's one of the problems that like we never really would think about on TQ.
Yeah, well, I mean, when everything costs 100 ISK, it's kind of a game changer, and we'll be with everything being seeded with Alliance tournament ships and all that. You said it's everyone running around.
So
with
the
high-grade
Duality
slaves.
meta was basically let me get an Orthrus with snakes and just orbit these things at 220 kilometers or something, and just go AFK. That's what a lot of people did. That's not what I did. Towards the end, what I really liked is just taking a Marauder, just going full Bastion mode, because for whatever reason, only about 400 or 500 people actually tested on Duality. So at any given time, there were, I don't know, maybe 50 dudes. Not even, like 30, 20, depending on how quiet it was. And then I could just Bastion and just hang them for days while I'm just Entosising. Like, they can't fight me. And I just MJD. And then
Well, the problem with that is that you're not going to be able to have that solution on Tranquility, like you were saying, because
Exactly.
there's a few more people on Tranquility than the 500
yeah,
you
you
mentioned.
can't take the sneak out Orthrus and just go AFK and Entosis stuff, or take a 4 billion ISK paladin and just tank for days, right? And yeah, it's Chameleon, not Cambion. Sorry, Cambion's the
Chameleon,
frigate.
okay.
It's like a Merlin / Drake. It's a Drake in a Merlin's body. The Chameleon is the Falcon Gila.
Sorry, everyone's saying my mic's low. It should be better now, guys. I turned Elise down a little bit. Well, let's see.
Oh, so good.
Oh no, you're just louder than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I just need to yell. I'm just going to yell the entire stream, guys, to get my points across.
So yeah, in Duality, it was just because not many people were doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of grinding, and there were a few bugs to work around. So we found some really funny bugs.
And have you tried those bugs since the release?
Not since the release,
Okay.
but they started to go away on Duality. So I imagine they're not there anymore. The system should be pretty much totally ironed out. The one thing that people pointed out today was that if you have your bills set to auto pay, because they used to be called sovereignty bills, now it's called infrastructure hub bills. So that little checkbox isn't checked. So if you own space and you think that your SOV is going to be auto paid,
everyone right now is probably going, "Oh fuck," and checking their alliances.
Yeah. So luckily PL doesn't have much space to care about, but I still had to like go through, check the box. The neat thing that they're doing is for the first week, I think it is, you can change your capital system every 2 minutes.
What?
The capital system is just well, your capital is what you give to any system that you want that you control the TCU over, and it gives it a +2 to the ADM. The ADM is the activity defense multiplier. I think that's what it's called.
And what is the max ADM you can have?
The max you can have is 6.
Okay, and that's with that. So basically, your capital system would have 6.
Well, it gives +2 to whatever it is. So for me, head GP, I think without my capital system, actually, let's look in game. There should be. I haven't tested this on TQ. This is the first time I'm locking on. Just oh, it's not the character.
Let's
GP.
see.
I think the system head GP.
Wow. Okay, I'm looking at it on stream now. Wow, that's.
And then there should be a sovereignty tab on the far right hand side.
Yep, guys. So basically, people and places. Search type any, type in head or whatever system you want to look at. Type search, right click, show info, and the sovereignty tab right here on the right. That's pretty incredible. That's.
Yep. So you can see that I don't actually live in this system. So the military index is 0. The industry index is 0 because I didn't do anything. But I've held it for a long time. So the strategic index is 5.
Nice moon time timer, bro.
Well, that's part of the problem, right? Actually, that's the wrong timer. Pretty sure that's the wrong timer.
It's 0730 to 1630.
Yeah, that's not updated correctly. I'm almost positive. Let me check on .lan. It shouldn't be that, otherwise I have to change it because I set it to 1900. Anyway, so you can see it's my capital. It's got a little star next to the activity defense multiplier. So I'm getting +2, which brings it from 2 to 4.
Okay.
Let's see.
So head GP you have declared as the capital for PL?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And it's weird. It shouldn't be when it's invulnerable unless someone changed it and I wasn't paying attention.
I'm checking.
I mean, it says it on .lan. It absolutely should not be that. So maybe we found a cool bug. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, maybe.
Which, so by basically, the way, as an alliance, you get to set your prime time.
Yeah.
The prime time. What this does is there's like an 18-hour vulnerability timer. I think that's what it is for every system. If you have an ADM of 1.
All right.
But if you have an ADM of 6, you just divide it by 8. Or you divide 18 by your ADM. So your activity, your vulnerability timer would then be 18 over 6, which is 3. So it's whatever your prime time is, and then plus 1.5 hours and minus 1.5 hours.
So all that college you went through to be a lawyer taught you how to divide 18 by 6?
Yep, I'm so good at it.
That's really interesting. So your defense timer would be 18 divided by 4 since your ADM, which, guys, ADM, we keep throwing out the acronym. It is Activity Defense Multiplier, and you can see it on screen here. ADM, Activity Defense Multiplier, and it's 4 times for head GP. So 18 divided by 4 is 700, and that's how long their prime time is. Right?
Yeah. So my prime time should be, or my prime time is set, I think, at 1900 now. So it should be.
I wonder how quickly it updates. Let's see. Nope, so it's not updated. So it might be. I wonder.
It's entirely possible. Actually, hold on. I can log into the holding character to see what's going on here.
Oh, I just noticed that in the show info, it has a little star next to the ADM saying it's the current capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so that's sort of the rough thing about it. The neat thing that players have done is, if you want to see the ADM of a system and the vulnerability window of a system, in-game you can, as Laz showed you, you can just go to people and places or just link the system and go to the sovereignty tab. Out of game, you can just go to .lan and it'll show you everything for every system in a certain region or anywhere, essentially. And also, what they've added to Aegis is that the timers for reinforcement and stuff is in Crest. It's in public Crest. So every single person in Eve knows when every single timer is reinforced or is coming out.
Interesting.
So, and there's also a page for that. Let's see if I could find it. I think it's called timerboard.net.
Yeah, that is the old one that I believe Lucia made.
So yeah, timerboard.net is updated with public Crest. So if you want to see just how many systems are reinforced today, you can just go there.
Holy shit.
It'll tell you when the things are coming out. It doesn't say who it's reinforced by because Crest doesn't know that. It actually, in game, it doesn't ever tell you who your stuff is being reinforced by.
Right, so I'm showing on a stream now all the reinforced systems. Jesus Christ.
Yep, and if you click on them, it probably takes you to the .lan. Yeah, it does. So you can see what the ADM of a certain system is. Looks like
people have been busy. People have been very, very busy today. It's all centered around like Geminate and Cloud Ring. There's a lot of Rust systems.
Yeah. Who knows what's going on? So I mean, it's the big swing. But I guess we can talk about how, in fact, you would go and reinforce a system like this.
All right, let's talk about that.
As I'm sort of multitasking and trying to make sure that no one changed the thingy on me.
Oh, don't want people changing thingies. That's always a bad thing.
I'm still trying to figure out why head GP is. Anyways, so say I'm John Q Puppy and I want to go reinforce a system. All I need is a ship that can fit an Entosis module, some strontium to run the Entosis module, and then I just go to the system that I want to reinforce, and I either go to the iHub, the TCU, or the station. In FozzieSov, all three of them are independent of one another.
Independent?
So I can have a fight over the TCU and not ever reinforce the station, or I could shoot the iHub without touching the TCU or the station, and things like that. So, and also now they moved iHubs and TCUs to planets, and they made them global, so you don't have to look for them. You can just see them on your overview, and you can just warp to them directly that way.
All right. Oh, let's see if I can jump clone somewhere. I did not do enough preparation for this. I should
we can do it. Actually, we can do it on Singularity if you want, because there's the move me command there.
I don't know if I have that patch.
Or we can just go to like SVM or something, or head GP. You can go to head GP if you want and like reinforce. Don't do that. Let's go to the system next to head GP. Right? Let's go to...
Bro, why don't you want me to reinforce your stuff, man?
Let's see if SVM is vulnerable to attack. That's invulnerable right now. WD dash vulnerable. Okay, we can go to WD dash and
WD dash. Okay. All right. We need a frigate.
Actually, frigates are kind of hard to use.
Oh. Well, why don't you explain that? Well, I'm trying to tell me what ship I should be fitting. Like, if I'm a new player and I want to go Entosis WD dash, what do I fit out?
Okay, so I have not used the Entosis module, the Tech 1 Entosis module, because I've always been using the Tech 2 because it's got a we'll talk about why it's better later. But obviously, Tech 2 is better than Tech 1. But for the Tech 2 module, it uses a lot of capacitor. It uses like 500 capacitor to get going. And I keep logging into the wrong freaking character. So a lot of frigates, if you fit a micro warp drive and stuff like that, maybe, and you have not great skills, maybe 500 capacitor is more than what you've got going.
All right, so I'm looking at Entosis Link Tech 1 on stream. Tributes. Activation costs 50 energy.
Okay, so then Tech 1 is you can use on a frigate. So just grab a frigate, any frigate you like. The Tech 1 requirements for the Entosis module are really easy. It's like 1 power grid and tech and like 10 CPU.
Oh, yeah, the Entosis Link fitting for the Tech 2 is 100 power grid.
Yeah, for fitting the Tech 2, it's harder to do, and it uses a lot more cap.
Yeah.
And essentially, the main difference between the two is the range. A Tech 2 Entosis module has a 250 kilometer range, which is insane. And it's got a warm-up timer of 2 minutes instead of 10 minutes.
22, yeah. So as a new player, is there a certain type of frigate that'd be better for this? Like do I want a Breacher or
Petrol would probably work. Petrol should be fine.
Okay.
It's decently fast. It's got some guns. The thing is, when you turn on an Entosis module, you can't warp and you can't receive remote effects.
Okay. So you're completely stranded from all your friends.
Yeah, basically. But you can micro warp drive around. It's unlike a Sino. Like when you light a Sino, you can't even move. But when you have Entosis running on your ship, you can move around. You just can't warp around, and you can't receive remote effects. So I don't know. I think Kestrel is probably good. Any brawling frigate that you like is probably going to be fine.
All right. 43 million, Jesus Christ. My frigate costs.
yeah. I'm trying to find a frigate to join you with, so we don't die horribly.
My Merlin that I'm currently fitting out with this module, I could buy so many Merlins for the price of this Entosis Link.
Yep. So people were worried that you just have Tech 1 frigates spamming Entosis all around, and it would just be this awful system. But it's not that cost effective just to be in a suicide frigate. You kind of want to do it in a reasonable way. Mm-hmm. But let's see, I think I've got a frigate I can use.
Yeah, that's really that's a real limiting factor there, because you're not want to run around with these Tech 1 frigates to harass people when you're losing 45 mil per.
But I mean, if you're going to war as an alliance, then who cares? Like 45 mil, that's nothing. But yeah, so I'm gonna go set my destination. I'm in Jita right now. I'm gonna set my destination to WD- and join you, and we will go ahead and do a hands-on thing. And sorry, AAA, but we're gonna reinforce your shit on stream.
Oh, buddy, I'm gonna have some angry Russians yelling at me after this.
So anyway, what you can expect is, so as I said, the TCU and iHub are now. Well, the TCU always was, but the iHub is now something you can add to your overview and just warp to instantly.
All right, so I've got a micro warp drive and a Entosis Link, and so
and you need some Stront.
Stront, okay, I need Stront. Strontium Stront, yeah.
Not just for Siege anymore; it's for other stuff. So just get like uses probably like 1 per cycle.
That's because no one's going to need their dreads, and once they put the new citadels in, until they rebalance capitals.
Mm-hmm. So you probably only need like 20 Stront. Stront's really heavy.
It's 1 per use, or one per cycle. So let's take 20. I don't know if we can carry 20 in this. We can maybe.
Yeah, that's another thing that limits it.
Stront.
So Stront is annoying. So actually, let's look at the system for the 80. Oh, this is perfect. The ADM for WD- is 1.
Rip dreads.
Yeah. Actually, so we checked on timer board. It's not reinforced already.
Oh, buddy.
There's actually no iHub in WD-, so we're actually going to reinforce the only thing that's viable in the system to be reinforced.
Well, explain that to us. So, in the old soft system, you had to kill the iHub before you can hit the TCU. In the new system, is it the same way? Do you have to kill certain objects in a certain order, or?
No, they're all completely independent of one another. So you can kill the TCU, and the iHub will still be up. And you don't even have to reinforce the iHub. You don't have to touch it at all. You can just start the capture on the TCU and just go all the way, and then just leave the station and the iHub alone if you want. But the TCU doesn't really do anything for you. It lowers the cost of POS ownership in a system, and it just plants a flag on the map, and it moves your strategic index level, right? So the longer you hold it.
All right. So a newly captured.
Never mind. The strategic index is moved to the iHub, I think now. So essentially, the TCU is relatively worthless. It's
just
something you use to plant a flag, and you get some 25% savings on
bills,
POS fuel.
That doesn't seem really worth it. I
mean, they're free now, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
So they cost nothing. There's no
TCUs are free now.
Yep. Well, the module itself still costs money, but like once you have a TCU in system, there's zero upkeep.
Okay.
Before it was 60 mil every 2 weeks or something for upkeep. Now completely gone.
Well, that's a good. I mean, no more bills.
Yeah. But they just moved those bills into the iHub, which does all the important stuff anyways.
Yeah. And so did they... I know I read it for a while back that they changed it to where there's only a single reinforced cycle on the TCU and the iHub. So after that cycle, if you lose the fight, you lose the actual object. Does that still happen, or is there two?
Yep, there's only one cycle.
All right. So either fight or lose it, basically.
Okay. Exactly. And there's actually some really funny interactions with how it works. But we'll just wait till we get to WD Dash and we can talk about it then.
If we make it. People are talking.
I'm sure we're going to make it. I'm sure it'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen?
Last time you said this, I lost my Orthrus.
I've never led you astray, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm so good.
Gets me killed all the time, guys.
So yeah, when you're thinking about the difference between the Dominion capture mechanics and the Aegis capture mechanics, there's quite a few right now. So like we're getting in a frigate, and we're going to a system, and we're going to go reinforce the only structure there. In DominionSov, we would have had to go over there with a hauler, drop SPUs on both of the gates in the system, wait for 3 hours, hope no one killed my SPUs, and if they do, I have to go protect them. Then after that, I would have to burn through a shitload of HP on a structure, and then it enters a reinforced cycle number 1. Then I come back a day and a half later, and I do reinforced cycle number 2, and then structure's gone. But now there's really no barrier to entry for me. I take a frigate, I go spend 20 minutes at a structure, and it's reinforced.
Well, and as a new player or a new group that wants to take space, where would you start if you were an aspiring high sec PV or not PvP or aspiring high sec guy and wanting to move into null sec? Where would you initially start trying to Entosis and take Sov?
Okay, so here's the interesting thing, right? Like the DominionSov system is 6 years old, I think.
I think that was the number.
5 or 6 years old. So we basically know all the best strategies for it. For the FozzieSov system, the strategies are still sort of up in the air. Sorry, I don't want to die on stream. Anyways,
it's okay.
So
we had a drug deal on Saturday on stream. It's okay.
What I think is the most efficient way to do it is to find a system with a really low ADM that's really close to NPC space, either low sec or NPC null sec.
All right.
And then you just base in the NPC null sec system or the NPC low sec system, so your assets are safe. Then you make you just go out on little voyages and just reinforce the systems that you kind of have your eye on. After you capture them or you fail, you then build the index up in that system by mining, by building stuff if that's your thing, and just by holding it for a long time.
What if I don't like PvE? How much does hold my systems?
You make it your capital.
You just add +2 to it and pray.
Yeah, that's actually the only way to do it. That's what I think is a huge failing of the system is, and I can sort of see why they did it, but it sucks for me personally in my alliance because I don't my members or people in PL don't really want to NPC or anything like that.
Take that, elite PvP.
So there's really no way that we can keep the index up. So we have to either like bribe someone to rat for us, or put some renters in the space and say, "Hey,
that's kind of
just
funny.
go rat. We can't charge you anything."
It's like renters reversed.
Yeah, exactly. It's reverse renters. I'm paying people to build my index up.
Oh, how Eve has changed.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I'm a new guy, and I live in low sec or NPC null sec, and I find really low ADM next to me. I capture it because I'm a cool fly dude. There's no barrier to entry. I can do it in a frigate. When people come to fight me, I fight back, or I die and try again later. Whatever happens, eventually I win the tug of war, and the system is mine.
When someone starts to Entosis your stuff, do you get an email or something about it? Like, are you somehow notified?
You get the entire alliance get its notification setting that a certain system is being Entosised.
Okay.
It doesn't say by whom. And well, it just doesn't say by whom, right? So it could just be some guy in a frigate doing it, like we're about to do, or it could just be a massive alliance doing it, like a huge strat op.
See, I don't like that. I mean, because then you're gonna be forming up for every Tom, Dick, and Sally.
Yeah. So I mean, if I just want to mess with people, I can go around with a T2 Entosis module, start the process, and then just give up and run away, and it doesn't. I don't get a message saying, "Oh, they've given up trying to capture your system." I just get the message that someone's been trying to capture your system.
Yeah.
Go deal with it.
Well, that's if you make it through the cycle, because you can't cancel the cycle, can you? Like once you turn it on, you can't turn it off until it's finished, like a doomsday timer.
Yeah, but that's the huge advantage of the Tech 2 one, right? The cycle is 2 minutes instead of 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so that
my Merlin capacitor wouldn't even be able to use the Tech 2.
Yeah, so frigate, like trolling and Entosis frigates don't actually work. You'd have to use a cruiser. A lot of people use like the Cinnaball because it's very fast. There's some kind of quirky mechanics that you can use. So you can just sit at like 220 from the iHub and Entosis it. Then if someone comes and you don't like them, you just run off in a straight line as fast as you can until you break the grid. And then they don't see you anymore, and then you're home free. You can just kind of fly around, hope they don't probe you.
So like 100 min afterburning cruisers for doing this would be pretty good, do you think?
Probably, yeah. I'd just take like a vagabond or something.
Okay.
Actually, an Orthrus synergizes really well with it.
Because
you can fight off would-be attackers pretty well.
Yeah, well, anything that's going to catch you, frigates, is just going to get zonked by rapid lights.
Yeah, exactly.
As we've seen many times on stream.
Yeah, so I was all ready to take an Orthrus, but I didn't move my links or anything, so I was like, screw it.
Yeah. Well, and jumping back to the topic about how an elite PvP group who doesn't like to do much NPCing and stuff like that to keep their SOV indexes up, would say Pandemic Legion, for example, being that you're in Pandemic Legion, would you guys actually recruit, say, an NPC or an industry corp to help maintain this, or would you just think of some other way? Like, would you bring some Care Bears into the...
If I wanted to live in conquerable space, I think I would have to somehow find a way to get someone to rat the indexes up for me. Because PL can't reliably do it over a lot of systems. Because we did this when we set our wormhole network up. What we did is we just found a constellation. We had to upgrade it to Mill 4, which isn't even the highest, just to install the wormhole upgrades. And that process took us way too long. So eventually what we did is we just found dudes who lived in the area, and we were like, hey, we'll just pay the SOV bills. We'll install like the ratting upgrades that cost like a few $100 million or whatever a month. We'll just keep that there. We'll give you blue standings to dock, and just go to town and just keep the indexes at like level 3 or 4. And that's what they did. So that's how we did our wormhole thing. So that's how we would have to do the space thing.
Well, in chat asks, isn't that what Boost was for?
They don't actually rat. They don't do any stuff like that. They don't do anything that'll usefully keep my indexes up. I wish they did. Actually, no, I don't. I'm glad. That would be awful. But no, I don't. I wouldn't recruit someone in my alliance to do it. I just try and outsource it.
Okay.
And it's kind of spotty, but maybe I could trick someone into doing it. I don't know.
Well,
for right now, like it's not feasible for an alliance like PL to live in space. Because before we had this huge advantage of this just massive fleet, right? So if some little guy wanted to come in and mess with our space, I just laugh at them and just plink them away with my supers, right? Now there's like no barrier to entry at all, so my huge military does nothing for me except for look spooky. But looking spooky doesn't really do anything, so screw it. I'll just live in Delve. It'll be fine.
All the NPC space.
Yeah, I'll live in Delve, Fountain, and Curse. It's where I lived anyways most of the time. So, holding space is for chumps.
Well, and continue with the holding space thing. Like, how do you feel about the? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I mean, do you feel like it's kind of a good thing that you can actually, or it's going to bring more industry type folk into 0.0 possibly to keep the industry indexes and stuff up? Do you think?
I don't know yet how it's going to work, because on paper it sounds really good, right? Like anyone can go and take space and call it theirs, but at the same time, anyone can just go ahead and just take that back from them, right?
Right.
So why are you going to move? Why are you, as a little alliance or a little group of people, between all things and all of your assets, all of your possessions, into something that can be captured in 4 days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of terrifying. I mean, I don't know if they did this, but and it's kind of off topic. But stations after if you lose the first timer, then anyone can dock it and become a free port. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, so actually, we kind of got derailed.
Yeah.
I derailed us as well. I was going to WD dash. How far are you from WD dash?
I'm jumping in WD dash.
Okay, I'm still 6 jumps out. So I'll walk you through what to do when you get into WD dash. Essentially, you just warp to the TCU at whatever range you want, and just start Entosising it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take you about. You got to tech.
Oh, no, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
What?
All right, you're back now.
Okay, nice. I just won't move my head.
So I am in system now. I'm in WD dash. There is one person in system with me. He is a member of Drama Sutra.
Okay, so he's not AAA, so he can't stop your.
But he can shoot me.
He can shoot
with guns and kill me.
Guns.
All right, so.
But he can't stop you from capturing this system. The only one that can stop you from capturing this system is. All
right, so I see there's a territorial claim unit here.
Yep, so you just warp to that thing at whatever range you want, like 20 or something, because your range is 30, I think.
Watch it be on a pass. I'm gonna get zonked by a pass. It seems like bubbled and shit.
Yeah, I don't know how they handled that, actually. Because now you can only drop TCUs at planets.
Well, they said in the patch, in the dev log, that anything currently in space is grandfathered into that location.
Okay, so that's really, really useful, but... Again, who cares about the TC? The TC is pretty worthless.
Alright. Triple A about to get dunked? Yeah, by my Merlin with no guns. Ah, shit! There's a pass!
Oh no. Disaster. Is it like a good pass or just a shitty pass?
It's hostile. Let's get guns on it.
Okay. Let's check out 9K. Oh, 9KOE's got a too strong a defense multiplier.
What's the timer on it?
36 and is invulnerable. Oh. QSM is already reinforced. Q-Q is already reinforced.
Alright. Is there anything not reinforced yet?
Let's see. Okay, right next door in F9E. That should be fine.
F9E?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to head to F9E. So if you die, does the progress stay until reversed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So that's one of the other really cool edge cases with FozzieSov, is you can actually kite timers.
Interesting.
So as we talked about, there's like a vulnerability period that's based on essentially the ADM of the system, which is how often you use it, more or less. The higher the ADM, the lower the window to reinforce a system.
Which for everyone that's new to the stream, guys, we did figure out the ADM underneath the show info. Show info, or clicking on it here on the top left, sovereignty tab, activity defense multiplier. ADM is activity defense multiplier.
Yeah.
And that's how you figure out the multiplier. It's 18 hours divided by ADM.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That sounds right. Maybe it's like slightly less than 18. No, it's yeah. I'm so good actually. I'm the best. It's 18 hours divided by the ADM.
Yes. So smart. So smart.
So smart.
Much wow.
Fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can actually kite stations, TTCUs, and iHubs, right? So the vulnerability timer can be pretty short, but when the vulnerability timer ends, if there's any hostile Entosis on the system or on the structure itself, it stays vulnerable until all of the hostile Entosis is.
You're blue to me. Is that alliance standings or?
Nope. I can AWOG goons apparently. So yeah, it stays vulnerable until.
Yeah, you said terrible. You have terrible standing towards me.
Oh.
Terrible. I hate you.
Rip.
Alright, there's two nerds in here.
Okay, so you're gonna want to warp to the iHub. It should be on your overview. Because the iHub can't be out of pause, so screw that.
I don't even know if I have the iHub. I don't know if I have a Wait, they added the iHub to overview. You don't have to warp a plant to plant up. There it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's on overview now, so you can just warp to it directly like a beacon or something. It looks really goofy because of the new icon, but whatever.
That's why it's not showing my overview, because it was previously, guys, you cannot have the infrastructure hub on your overview. In warp.
Nice. I'm also in warp. So we're gonna see if there's any bad guys here. There is no bad guys here. Nice. So we can see on the top right the ADM of the system.
Top left.
Whatever. The ADM of the system is 1.9, right? So essentially the only benefits that this system gets is the fact that these people have owned it for a long time and have had an iHub running there for a long time. So they don't rat, they don't mine. This is about what you can expect from what I call fallow space, which is just space that no one uses except for to be a buffer and be annoying.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to lock up the iHub, and then you're going to just activate your Entosis module on it, and you're going to keep it green. If you turn it red, you just screw everything up, right? So just keep it green.
Wait, how does it screw everything up when you turn it red?
Okay, so to capture something, your Entosis module first has to go through a warm-up cycle. During the warm-up cycle,
that is a very, very big effect. Like literally, there's no way you can not tell what ship is Entosising.
Oh yeah, it's just this giant green.
Yeah, so like in a fleet fight versus fleet fight, the giant arrow pointing towards the ship. That's you should probably trust the effect, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty blatant. So anyways, so what's going on right now is you're not capturing the system at all. You're just doing your first warm-up cycle. Every time you go to Entosis something, either offensively or defensively, the first cycle is always spent warming up.
Right. Okay.
So for a Tech 1 module, it's 10 minutes of warm-up. And since the ADM of the system is 1.9, it'd be 19 minutes after that to capture this.
Are you sure it's 10 minutes for warm-up?
No.
It's just one cycle, right?
It's whatever one cycle is on the Tech 1.
It's 300 seconds.
Okay, well, I guess...
60, that's 120.
I guess 5 minutes is okay too, whatever.
5 minutes.
I thought it was 10 minutes.
Carry the 3. Yeah, 5.
Nah.
Oh, I gotta take my shoes off. I need my toes for this.
So yeah, whatever. Apparently 5 minutes. I don't use Tech 1 again. Can I say I'm not a scrub? And the more people you have, it doesn't go any faster, right? So if I started Entosising this, nothing would change, except for if somehow you died.
Well,
jerk in
since
a comic
we're in
started
separate,
shooting you.
Since we're in separate alliances, does that, like, if you were Entosis and I were Entosis, would it cancel each other out?
No. There's only 2 teams, right?
Okay.
There's the people who own this iHub, who's called Volt, the Voltician cult or whatever, and everyone else. As far as Sov is concerned, there are only 2 parties. The guy who owns it and everyone else. So the only way you can cancel Entosis, or at least rather stall the Entosis out, is if someone from Volt comes over here and starts Entosising it as well.
Okay.
They'd go on their warm-up cycle, and then it would just be a tug of war that no one can kind of win at.
Well, and if I have 2 Entosis links and they have 1, does that mean I win?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's just a stall. So if we put you in a cloning vat, something that made 500 Lazarus Tellravens, and you
That'd
each
be
were
pretty epic.
Merlins. Yeah. There'd be so many beards, but there would also be like 500 Merlins just Entosising this, and it just takes one guy from Volt to stall the whole thing out.
Wow, that's
So the capture mechanics don't care how many people you have or how many Entosis modules are on it.
that's kind of underwhelming because I mean I would think 500 Lazarus Tower even could make it work.
Yeah, I mean what couldn't they do? But apparently this. And also, like you were saying, if PL comes in and starts Entosising this thing, like it doesn't go any faster, it doesn't stop. The sovereignty system just says, "Oh, look, 2 bad guys are shooting this Volt structure."
Yeah.
So anyway, once your first cycle is complete, you'll start see like a little capture beacon going around this iHub, and that'll tell you the state of the whole thing.
All right. Well, I have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I really wish they would add a countdown to these damn things.
That would be really, really nice.
We've only been asking for it for years, CCP.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like DD timers, siege timers, triage timers, all these timer-based modules, and you're just like,
Maybe based Karker will do it.
Yes, maybe. CCP Karker, save us. All right.
So we're just Entosising for now. It's
now it's just hurry up and wait, kind of like SVUs, but much shorter.
Exactly. It's well for a system like this, like it's pretty easy, right? It's 19 minutes plus 5 minutes, so it's 24 minutes to RF it, which is a huge improvement over 3 hours plus 10 million EHP. Unless you had something that could do 10 million EHP in like 5 minutes, then it's
like
kind
a bunch of supers.
Yeah.
All right. So one cycle's activation timer, and then the second cycle. What is that? Just a second cycle at that point?
Yeah, the second cycle is when the whole capture mechanic or the reinforced mechanic starts to begin.
And if you get jammed or sensor damped so you can't lock the target anymore, you have to redo the warm up cycle, right? So you have to
exactly. But let's say you were Entosising this for 19 minutes or for 18 minutes instead of the 19 minutes. So you're 1 minute away, and I come in and jam you. It doesn't cancel the progress you've made. It just means to start again, you have to endure the warm-up cycle, which is 5 minutes.
So I'm at like 1 second left on my activation cycle. So if I was to get jammed right now, I have to redo the process?
Yeah.
Rip. All right, so we know.
But now you can see like the little capture circle around the iHub.
And everyone can see that, not just me, right?
Yeah.
Oh god, there's a red.
Oh no, this guy's blue to me.
It's Burn Eden.
Sensi dot. Okay.
Shit.
Diplomatic incidents inbound, I'm sure.
Tell them leave me alone, bro.
In my comment, I will help you.
Elemental Tide. I've got an NWD and an Entosis Link. I even need tank to this thing.
Well, you can just run away. It'll be fine.
All right.
So now you can't warp, and you can't receive remote effects. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can still run away.
So if you're trying to defend your space, this motherfucker's going to stream snipe me.
Oh, it's a Sveeple.
Nerd. We're trying to teach the newbies. No,
Please.
But so.
Please, people, help.
Here comes luck.
Oh, no.
It's okay. This is the only way NC can kill me, anyways. Blammo!
I guess I gotta. Oh no, Sveeple, please.
Oh. Bernie's in shit corp, anyways.
Okay,
right,
so.
All right, hold on. I see the little bar, the little circle thing. It went down.
Yeah, the little. You've still done some work on this thing, right? So it hasn't been erased. Oh, it didn't even drop.
My Entosis Link? Oh shit! That was my 45 mil Entosis Link. What the fuck?
Rickety wrecked.
That's bullshit. Oh.
Christ. I wish I brought an Entosis Link with me.
Oh, that's okay. We can see it though. I mean, we see that the little circle, the gray portion of the circle. If you guys can see the little hash mark thing sticking out, you can tell that it's gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's no timer. Why is there there should be like a timer of time left to capture or something.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
Like in the center there, just needs a timer.
So you can see there's like this little wedge missing, right? So now, even though, let's see, the top right, top left, it'll say, I help vulnerable now, and it'll tell you it's no longer vulnerable at 23:44. So, oh man, I got excited. So in an hour and 4 minutes, this system is no longer vulnerable. But since we already did some Entosis on this, this iHub will stay invulnerable or vulnerable forever until someone from Volt comes in and undoes your handiwork. So even though the invulnerability timer ends at 23:44, I can come back at like 2 o'clock Eve time or like 2 a.m. Eve time, and this thing will still be vulnerable, and Bolt will be like, "Oh, it says it's vulnerable." But,
this isn't like a POS shield or a station shield or an iHub shield where it's going to
doesn't
recharge. Oh, interesting.
So if you are a Euro time zone alliance with a really weak U.S. time zone presence, then another Euro time zone alliance can come and just start doing this stuff to your iHub or whatever, or station or anything you want, and they can just keep it in this state. And unless you kill the ship that's doing it, you can't really undo it. So you can just keep it over here, wait until they get tired because it's like 4 a.m. in Europe. Then your U.S. time zone comes on, finishes it off, and whenever the process finishes is when the I'm like 80% sure this is how it works. Whenever your reinforcement process finishes is when
I could be telling you the completely wrong thing right now, guys.
Well, I know the kiting mechanic works like this. Like we could come back in an hour and a half and you'll still see that this thing's vulnerable. But the reinforcement timer that you get after finishing the process on this is based on when you reinforced it, not when the alliance's prime time is, which is a huge departure from the way it used to be. In TheMittaniTV, you say, "Oh, I want my structures to come out at 2300 Eve."
Okay.
And that's that. So it could be reinforced at 1700 Eve, and then it would still come out somewhere around 2300. But now it's based on whenever it got actually reinforced.
All right. So you set your prime time, and once it gets reinforced in your prime time, it will come back out of reinforce when? Whenever
it was reinforced, like whatever the time was.
All right. So if I reinforce this thing as this exact minute, 22:46 Eve time, it will come out tomorrow at 22:46 Eve time.
There's like a plus or minus 2 hours or something after.
Oh, okay. All right. So it is sort of like the old SOF system.
Yeah. But I mean, like the Voltation Cult's prime time is actually, it'll probably show us what it is. If we go to attributes, okay, so their prime time is 1900.
Okay.
For the Voltation Cult. So if we reinforce this in like 5 hours at like 3:30 Eve time, or
wait, hold on. How do you know their vulnerability time? Where do you,
if you show info on the alliance and go to the attributes tab, it'll show their default vulnerability time.
Learning some new stuff, guys.
Yeah.
So, what about? Could you see that on Dotland as well? I think
you should be able to. Yeah.
All right. So we have Head GP pulled up. Let's click on Pandemic Legion and structures.
So apparently, it's showing that my vulnerability timer is unknown, which seems pretty much not great. It sounds like someone in PL, namely me, because there's like 4 people who could do this, screwed the pooch.
Well, according to Dotland, 9 hours until the next vulnerability window. 0730 is. Wait.
It said it at a weird time.
Some of your systems are set for 1000.
Yeah, well, something's happened. Someone dropped the ball. I said it today. I made sure it was set today. So it should be at 1900 starting in 2 days. You can change your system's prime time, but it takes 2 days to go into effect, 48 hours. Okay. You could also change your capital, and it takes a full week to take effect.
So in other words, if Joe Goon is coming to invade you and you can't, and they like surprise we're here now when we're invading you, you can't go, shit, let me change my capital and have it instantly take effect. Basically. Exactly. Okay. That's
there
kind
is
of neat.
One small nuance with that is if you lose all of your systems except for one, that system will by default become your capital.
Huh. By default. What if I don't want it to be? Oh wait, there's a bunch of CPU.
Well, you have no other systems left, so it has to be your default.
We're about to die, friend. Or at least I'm about to die. You're probably. Yeah, you're.
I was repairing my mods. Oh god. Not like this. Oh, there's no Volt guys here. So CVA is blue to Volt, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're allies.
Yeah,
We know this just because we play EVE Online for a long time. And so they can't actually undo any of the process we did on this Volt iHub, right? They can't stop us at all. They can't stop the process.
So basically, you can't have, I guess, some renter alliance group like you have had in the past control space and then have the group protecting them, like Pandemic Legion or NCDOT or Goons or FCON or whatever alliance in the game. They can't come and kill all the hostiles and then try to flip it back themselves. They would have to have a character inside the other group. Interesting. Which is why renting is effectively dead unless Pandemic Legion's paying people to red up their stuff. Reverse renting is what we're going to call it.
You can still sort of do it by just letting people hold the space themselves and just be like, yo, I'm mega spooky, so you have to pay me to do this. And things like that, especially in like the drone regions and areas like that. So let's say you want to live really far away from everything. You kind of need to be friends with your neighbors so you can get assets in from Empire or Lowsec, or so you can import or export whatever your wares are. So you still have to have a relationship with people. And the further away you are, the safer from just troll Merlins coming to do stuff.
All right.
But at the same time, you still need to befriend the dudes that are living in the shit regions. That's who you need for like jump bridges and stuff.
Well, let's go back into the hypothetics then. Say I am some random guy, and I have a small corp or alliance rather, and I managed to take this system. I have this awesome group of systems that I just took. How do I defend it whenever I get that mail saying that it's being Entosis?
Okay, so the process of reinforcing is what we did on this iHub, and the way you do it is, the way you would stop it is you'd go there, you'd kill whoever has the Entosis module going on, or you would jam them or just make it so they can't have a lock, and then you'd apply your own Entosis module to your own structure to undo the damage. When you do that, it goes faster. For defensively capping your structures, they assume that you have an ADM of 1.
Okay. So
let's just take just the most fringe case you can. So like my capital, let's say I want to defend VFK, right? So VFK has an ADM of 6 in our hypothetical. I don't know what it actually is because you don't actually live there anymore, but it has an ADM of 6. I spend 40 minutes Entosising your station.
Okay.
So that takes me, let's just say 30 minutes because it's easier. So I spend 30 minutes Entosising your station, and that takes me halfway. Now if I'm Joe Goon, I kill the bad guys, I jam them, whatever. They leave the grid, and then I only need 5 minutes to defend my structure.
Wow. So 5 minutes to your 40. Wow, that's pretty convenient for the defenders. I mean, that's a pretty big deal because as long as you can force them off the field, then 5 minutes is not that long.
Yeah. Again, I'm like 80% sure of how that works. I know that's how it works for the Entosis nodes.
Right.
I'm reasonably sure that's how it works for the reinforcement timer. And so that takes us to the reinforcement node section, which we can't actually show now because that's what happens after the reinforce cycle. Yeah. So let's say we were successful in an F9E endeavor, and we reinforce this iHub. And this is where you kind of need an outsider's map. So let's go to .land and type in F9E, and you can see the constellation that it's in.
I was also shown this link. I'll link it in Skype so you can see it as well. But it's pretty interesting. It's a cool little calculator for those who can't do basic math like myself.
Yeah, this is pretty good too. So there you go.
Yeah, so you say 5, 4, 2.
So this is really good at calculating what an ADM would be based on like military indexes, right? So you can link this in your chat or whatever because it's pretty cool. Obviously, everyone can multiply by 10, so that's not a huge thing. And even like even the worst of us can divide 18 by whatever the number is. But if you want to come up with what the ADM is, it's not as straightforward. So you can click on, oh, what happens if I bring my military index from 0 to 3? And you can see that's a huge, huge effect.
Right.
It takes my ADM from 2 to 3.7, which makes the vulnerability window go from 9 hours, which is pretty huge, all the way down to 5 hours, which is pretty small.
Interesting. What wasn't brought up that I'm noticing on this website I linked you. If you look at the bottom where it says the subcapital Entosis Link activation time, which they should probably add that to here. It's not really inferred. But for a non-capital, it's 5 minutes warm up, like in F9E, where we're doing is a 5 minute warm up time. But had F9E been a capital system, it would have added 20. It would have been 25 minutes before we even started capturing that system.
Nope, that's not how it works.
What's not?
That's if you're using it on a capital chip. So any a capital or a super capital. So a Titan.
See, that needs to be explained better. Damn it.
Yeah. That is actually a pretty cool nuance that I kind of neglected, right? So if you're in a capital ship, like an Archon or any carrier or a Dread or a Super or a Titan, anything that's considered a capital, even a Rorqual, and you Entosis something, the warm-up cycle is 5 times longer. It doesn't change any other part of it, right? So if we're in the F9E, the ADM was 1.9. So it's still taking me 19 minutes after the initial warm-up cycle, but the warm-up cycle for a T1 module or a T1 Entosis would be 25 minutes instead of 5 minutes,
right.
Or 10 minutes instead of 2 minutes, right? So that's kind of it's not really a detriment to using carrier, but I mean it's something to think about because the warm-up cycle becomes 10 minutes, so you can't move or you can't get remote reps for 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean you can also triage for that 10 minutes too, and just have absurd amounts of reps.
Yeah.
Like an X-type fit triage carrier would be pretty.
That turns out to be a pretty good mechanic.
Yeah.
Pretty good way to siege hostile nodes and stuff.
Did you guys try this on the test server?
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, what we found out on the test server is easier to just use a Bastion Marauder because the tank levels are really high. There aren't that many people on the server, so who's going to really break you, right?
Yeah.
And then if shit goes weird, you just jump in a carrier and save yourself, or jump in a carrier and start the Entosis cycle. But anyways, let's get back to describing
command nodes.
This command node thing. So
command nodes.
I reinforced an iHub, right?
All right. You reinforced
it tells me a timer when things are going to come out. It comes up on public crest. So if I go to this website, timerboard.net, it shows me every timer. So I go there, and as soon as the timer comes out, what starts happening is in the entire constellation that the system is in, not the system itself, but the entire constellation of the system,
right?
Command nodes start spawning. As an attacker, I need to capture 10 command nodes to win.
All right, so let's see.
And as a defender, I need to defensively capture 10 command nodes to win. As I was saying before, as a defender, you don't get an ADM multiplier on your timers, right? So as a defender, capturing a timer, a node, takes you 10 minutes. As an attacker, it takes you 10 minutes times whatever the ADM of the system is. So if the system is a 6.0 ADM system, then it takes you 1 hour per node, while the defenders only have to spend 10 minutes.
Wow, that's a pretty huge advantage. Because I'm looking at Dotland now, and using F9E as an example, you're saying that all these systems could have command nodes in them? That's 1, 2, 3,
that's
4,
why
5,
HGP
6,
is
7, 8, 9,
awful
10,
right now to live
10.
in, right?
Wow.
So they will be spread out. Some nodes will be spread out through this constellation, and this constellation's a pipe, right? It's a dead end.
That's such a horrible constellation.
Yeah, so HGP in Dominion Solve, one of the best systems to live in. In pre-Dominion Solve, probably the best system to live in, because it was based on moons, which who cares about now? Anyways. But in Dominion Solve, it only had 2 gates, so that means you only had to kill 1 SBU and you'd win as the defender.
Yeah, I'm looking, like, for constellation layout, I think Catch might be the worst system in the or region in the game for it.
Yeah, because there are so many of these like long, awkward, ugly pipes.
Yeah, because
and you can't really bounce around. So if someone puts a gate camp in 36N or something, you can't go to that end of the constellation. And
yeah, like a camp in SV5 effectively cuts off the fleets from using gates to get to the rest of the constellation. So they can be like,
that's
here.
why HGP is completely awful. And
you as an attacker, I would camp SV5. I'm like, sure, you guys can have these 2 systems, and I'm just going to capture the rest.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's one of the shitty things is the geography of a constellation matters hugely with where you want to live, right? So if you want to live in head GP and God forbid it gets to the reinforced cycle, the first reinforced cycle, like let's say it's like right now it's my capital. Let's say PL lives there. We don't really rat that much. We get it up to like let's say we rat a little bit. Where's this thing? We get it to Mill 1 and industry level 0. So our and make it a capital, right? So we get a 4.6. So it takes 46 minutes plus the warm-up cycle to reinforce a structure.
Okay.
Let's say I'm just on and up on the other side of Eve, just doing my thing, and some guy comes in when I'm not there, even though it's my prime time or whatever, like I designate it. He goes, Entosis is my iHub, or my TCU, or my station, or all three, for 46 minutes, and then my shit's in reinforced. Everyone knows about it, and then just some bad guy comes in, sits in SV5. I'm in head GP because I live there, and I can't defensively capture anything unless I've got a Titan.
Yeah.
To jump around the gate camp.
Well, and that's the thing is moving supers and Phoebe is so bad now. Like I feel really bad for all these like Titans, like small scale like groups with their like 1 or 2 Titans and supers and stuff that keep losing them to the Wrecking Crew and all those other low set guys.
Yeah, well, you can't move them. That's the thing, right? So if your alliance moves and you miss the move up, like catching up is a real pain.
Yeah.
And the kind of neat thing is, depending on who you are, I guess, is there are like dead zones on the map that kind of remind me of like Mad Max style, where you don't want to move a cap at all through Iridia or a Derelict. Like if you're just a solo guy, you're gonna get caught and you're gonna die if you move a super. Like
the only way to do it would be literally to log in 5 minutes before downtime, jump, and then let downtime hit, and do that every single day.
Yeah, that's your best bet. But anyways, so the geography really matters of this thing. So F9E, we reinforced, then throughout this entire constellation, these nodes start popping up. At first, 5 nodes pop up, and then more start popping up depending on how many you've captured and how much time has elapsed from the initial reinforcement cycle. So the only way, as a defender, that I can save my system and make it not reinforced anymore, whatever structure is reinforced, is to defensively cap these plexes, right? If I do nothing and the attacker does nothing, just more plexes start to spawn, more nodes start to spawn in my constellation, and my shit stays in reinforced mode. So anyone that could just come by and start just capping these things, and I'd lose my shit. Yeah, and so, as we're talking about, there's only one reinforced cycle for TCUs and iHubs.
Right. So basically,
well,
sorry to interrupt you, but you're just saying like, when it comes to these, there's only 2 sides. So a coalition, let's say there's some big group of people that live in the north want to come and take your head constellation. Since only Pandemic Legion can successfully defend the nodes, like with the Entosis Link. But say this group from the north, the Imperium, with all these different alliances, they could literally just all go take nodes, and it all contributes to taking the system, right?
Yep, exactly.
Wow, that's a huge disadvantage for the little guy.
Yeah, it's kind of not great.
That's pretty significant. Because
so here's the neat thing, I guess. The neat thing or the awful thing, depending on how you see it, right? Being the attacker, it kind of sucks because you have to capture these nodes, and there's a huge defensive multiplier. So if it's like a huge system with an ADM of 6, you have to spend an hour and 2 minutes at every node, and there's 10 of these nodes, so you have to spend...
I'm hating myself just an hour.
But as a defender, it's just equally as awful, because as you described, like, you need people in your alliance to go, like, break out of certain cams and position themselves to defensively capture these plexes. So it's a bit of a lose-lose.
Yeah, but an hour and 10 minutes per node? Oh my god.
Yeah, well, so the idea is an ADM of something that's an ADM of 6. In order to capture it effectively, you just have to harass
the other alliance quit.
You just harass the system long enough so let's see, ADM of 6 means everything's more or less maxed out, right? Let's see, yeah. It's strategic index 5, mill index 5, and industry level of 3.
Jeez.
So you just have to sit there and camp the thing, so the military index would eventually degrade all the way down to like 1. Then it's a little bit easier to attack, but still 43 minutes per node.
Oh, that's so even 43 minutes per node, because how many nodes do you have to capture to win?
10. So here's how it works. For the TCU timer, it's 10. For the iHub timer, it's 10. For the first station timer, it's 10. And then that sends a station into Freeport. And, oh shit, we have to talk about this now. Okay, so let's finish talking about the TCUs and iHubs before we do that.
Okay.
So as an attacker, I capture 10 of these command nodes that are spread across the constellation. And then the TCU or iHub, whatever nodes I'm hitting, and they're pretty clearly labeled on the overview. Like, they show up globally, right? You don't have to probe them down or anything. They're just on the map. It'll just say, like, iHub command node for head GP. So you just warp to it and start capturing it, whatever.
Mm.
So I capture all 10 of these, or I capture at least 10 of these. There's more than 10 sometimes, but I only have to capture 10. And then what happens is, in head GP, the iHub just explodes. I don't have to be near head GP. I could be all the way in V3. That's where the 10th one is. My entire fleet's there. Then the iHub in head GP just explodes.
Once you capture the 10th node.
Yeah, once you capture the 10th node, it explodes.
Yeah, I mean, but if there's...
Here's the weird thing about this entire system is, once the iHub explodes, you can only have one iHub per system. So if I live in head GP, I can just say, okay, the last node is in HY dash, really far away, like 10 jumps away. They're going to capture that one. My iHub's going to explode. I'm just going to put a new iHub down immediately, and the iHub, instead of having a 2-hour anchor time like it used to before, the iHub anchors immediately.
Interesting.
And the first person to Entosis it gets to capture it.
Wow. Okay.
So
now
I drop the iHub,
okay.
and then I start my Entosis process on it. And it only takes the 2-minute warm-up cycle and then the 10 minutes. Just one 10-minute cycle. It doesn't care what my ADM is at that point. So I spend 12 minutes Entosising this unmolested, and I get my iHub back. All the upgrades that were in the old one exploded, but who cares? I have an iHub again.
Oh, Jesus.
But the best part is...
Well, when you lose the iHub, does it drop your strategic level?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does. All that stuff resets.
Hmm.
But the funky part is, let's say I'm just some jerk third party. I don't know who would do that. And I'm watching 2 people fight over something, so...
well, that's a really big possibility now that everyone knows everyone's timers.
Yeah, exactly. That's public, right?
Yeah.
So the attacker finally wins. So let's say in catch it'd be AAA versus some dudes who's fighting AAA. I don't know. So the attacker finally wins. The iHub explodes, and I just show up as they drop their new iHub, or let's say the victor is dropping their iHub. I just show up, I kill them, and I Entosis the iHub. The iHub is mine. Like,
wow,
that's it. I win. Like,
so if you show up with a battle hauler and you drop it and start Entosising.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could fit it in a carrier as well. They made the iHubs much smaller, so I can just fit it in a carrier. I can launch it from my fleet hangar, and then I just have to control that one grid. Like, that's the sort of anomaly of this whole thing, right? The whole purpose of FozzieSov is to split up the fight over an entire constellation. But when you're actually talking about winning the iHub itself, you only have to be on grid with the iHub, and you just have to win that fight, and then you kind of win the iHub.
Well, and one of the questions that was just asked in chat, let me see if I can find it again. Do all 10 nodes spawn at the exact same time?
No. I don't know the exact mechanics of it, but it seems to me that, like, when it first comes out of Reinforced, I think there are 5 nodes. And every time a node gets captured, defensively or offensively, a new one pops up in the constellation. And then as certain amounts of time passes, the nodes just start spawning out of nothingness, right? Out of the ether, just nodes start showing up. So if this happened on Duality a lot, like we'd get to the system right as the timer came out, it'd only be 5 nodes. But if we just like forgot about it for a day or something, then there'd be like 15 nodes spread out through the constellation. So the first one to get 10 of them wins. And then there's like there's a little capture circle on the top left that'll show you the process.
I just got fucking burned by Mittani and Illuminati. Wow. I said, this is AIDS, and he goes, "Why are you interrupting us to talk about your posting?" God. Yes. All right.
Okay, so now we get to talk about the special case, which is the stations. The stations still have 2 reinforcement cycles.
2 reinforcement cycles.
So the first one you still do, you just Entoses it. It's 10 minutes times your ADM plus whatever the spool up time or the warm up timer is on your Entosis module. So the same thing as a TCRI hub. And then to capture it after the first reinforced cycle, you have to go through the constellation, capture the 10 nodes, make sure the defender doesn't capture 10 nodes. And obviously this should go without saying, but like if you capture 9 nodes offensively, and then a defender captures 1 node, then you still have to, like, that brings you back down to 8, right? So you just have to take 2 more, right? So you have to take 10 more than the defender.
So it's always you have to have 10. So if you manage to take 9 and then you don't take any more after that.
High? I might be wrong on that. I think it's actually just the first person to 10.
Okay. Well, we'll have to figure that out.
No, I think I'm right. I think I was right the first time, but I'm not absolutely sure. Someone who actually was like super active in the Duality thing would probably know. I should have asked them before that.
I gave you one responsibility, Elise.
I know. I failed you.
No, it's a new system, and everyone's going to be learning.
I'm 80% sure is the way I said it the first time.
I'm cringing super hard right now at the thought of having to do 1 node at a time, an hour and 10 minutes at max, or 40 minutes. Well, 43 you said, Lois?
Well, it's whatever the ADM is times 10 plus 2 minutes, right? So.
Oh, it's just.
So 5 will come up instantly. I'm pretty sure it's 5 that come up instantly, and that's one of the neat things with the FozzieSov system, right? Is they can just CCP could just say, oh, okay, people are not fighting enough. I'll just make 1 come out at a time, or oh, people are fighting too much. I'm gonna have 15 come out at a time. And the first person to 10 wins.
Yeah.
But either way, so you capture the beacons for the station, and after the first reinforcement
before you
timer,
go on, you said 5 spawn at a time right now?
I think it's 5. Maybe it's between 5 and maybe it's a little bit random between 5 and 8 or something. But
well, and does a new one spawn as others get captured, or how does it work?
Yeah, exactly. As soon as one captures, another one pops up somewhere in the constellation, randomly. And then as soon as a certain amount of time goes on with nothing happening, more of these things start popping up.
And how does time dilation affect capture time? Asked in chat.
It's affected by tie-dye, yeah.
Okay, so it's not like TCUs and stuff who just keep ticking down normal time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's going to be so
I guess if
horrible.
you had like this 1,000 on 1,000 man fight over an ADM 6 node, it would take 10 hours.
Well, BR5 every single Doomsday, which is the 10-minute timer, took 4 hours to cycle.
Yeah.
So.
So just don't have 1,000 man on 1,000 man fights. Just get better, scrub.
We're not playing the game the way they want us playing it.
Okay, so Tappets confirmed that in chat because Tappets is a bro, and he actually did almost all of the work. Not almost all the work, but he did more work than almost all but like 2 people on Duality. Like he was the actual person who you should have had on stream because he knows the mechanics. So he just confirmed it, right? So it's a tug of war.
Wow.
To 10 nodes. So if you hit 8, and then some guy defensively captures 3, you have to take another 5. So it's just a neat tug of war. Anyways, so let's go to the stations because the stations is a weird thing. So you win the first timer for the state, or you reinforce a station, then it comes out of reinforce. You capture 10 nodes. The station turns into a free port, right? So essentially, what that means is anyone can dock. Your standings of whoever owns it doesn't matter. It's essentially owned by an NPC group.
Wow.
And then there's another reinforced cycle after that, which is the final reinforced cycle. And in that system, the first person to capture 20 nodes wins the station. And there's no ADM on those final station capture mechanic or
So
final.
this is after you lost the first timer. The station.
So you lost the first
port.
timer, and it comes into a free port. And the timer after that is, which happens automatically. Once it turns into a free port, it goes into starts the second reinforce cycle. The first person to capture 20 nodes wins the station, and those nodes are 10-minute nodes. They're not ADM times 10-minute nodes. They're just 10-minute nodes flat out.
Okay.
And that's when having multiple people works against, or multiple groups works against you. So one person from Goons and one person from FCON capturing the station nodes. If each person captures one, the other, like, the group still has to capture 19, right? It's not additive.
Okay. So it's not like the iHub and TCU where there's only two sides. There's friendly and then there's hostile. There's
essentially one side for every alliance in the game. Every alliance in the game has their own side. There's no defender. There's just the first person to 20 gets the station.
That's gonna be pretty hectic. Like in the as an FC in the Imperium, like trying to get retards to not Entosis shit is I'm gonna strangle a motherfucker.
Well, it doesn't hurt you, right? It just gets rid of a node, and you have to wait for another one to spawn, right?
Exactly.
So if you sorry, I hit my mic. So if you as Goons capture 19 of these nodes, then someone from FCON captures another one, it doesn't bring you to 18 or anything. You don't have to capture two more. You still have to capture the original one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are, no matter what the ADM of the system is, it's still the 10-minute nodes.
Wow.
And the defender gets no advantage whatsoever at this point, right? Mm-hmm. So the defender is just trying to claw and win the 20 nodes. He's not trying to defensively cap anything. He desperately wants the 20 nodes before anyone else gets 20 nodes. And there's no timer advantage. There's no advantage at all.
And these nodes are across the entire constellation still, or is it only in that one system with the station?
No, it's across the entire constellation. Every node is scattered across the constellation.
Well, and another one of my fears is for the little guy. Like I'm concerned about the little guy and keeping these new guys in PvP and all that. What's to stop me from headshotting a system? What's to stop me from headshotting your staging system? And then once it flips to a free port, moving my entire capital fleet into that station where all of your assets are sitting.
Nothing.
So basically, Joe Blow and his 100-man alliance just lost every single thing they decided to put inside that station.
Yeah, that's why when we talked about the thing to begin with, like, as a small alliance, where would I live? I'd live in NPC space.
Yeah. All right, guys, start packing up and move out.
Yeah, or at least near NPC space, because you can kind of see the storm coming, right? Mm-hmm. It's still the 4 days or whatever for station owning to station losing.
Yeah, but
there's just like a 2-day period where the station's a free port, and someone can blockade you by just hobo bubbling you, by just having a saber on docking, bubbling.
It just makes hell camping such a good idea for any campaign.
Yeah, it means that if you live in space as a coalition, you really don't want to have all your assets in one station. You don't even want to have all your allies in one station. You kind of want to be spread out through your region a little bit. Or just live in NPC space.
Yeah, but doing that,
owning spaces for chumps.
Like that's the thing. Like with Phoebe mechanics and jump fatigue, having people on multiple systems, how the hell are you supposed to meet up to actually make a proper fleet?
Oh, well, I think the goal is you don't, right? You're supposed to have like these little scrappy 50-man gangs fighting for these nodes, and that's something that we can't really tell from the Duality playtest. So I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go. In Duality, what we did is, because in Duality all you cared about was owning the system. You didn't care about anything like that. You didn't care about like living in space or doing anything like that. So what we did is we waited for someone else to capture the nodes and have then drop the iHub. Then we just fight one huge fight over the iHub or the TCU, and then we'd win, and we'd kind of do a little dance.
I like the big fights though. I like the giant, huge fights.
Yeah, I do too. And they still exist over the iHubs, kinda. And TCUs.
I don't like it.
It'll take some getting used to. But it's equally as awful for the defender as it is for the attacker. So I don't think anyone has a clear advantage. I think it's pretty shitty for everyone. So at least that's good, right?
I think we should go back to top spamming.
I kind of like that mechanic a little bit. I mean, here's the thing: the Dominion system wasn't bad, right?
Yeah.
It had a barrier to entry, so owning space was kind of owning space. You couldn't just be instantly ousted or whatever. You'd have some warning and stuff like that. The reason that Dominion solve system became shitty is because we just had it for too long, right? And we found out the ways to work around it. The social groups sort of, oh, I've been probed down. I should pay attention.
Oh man, rip. Did you make it out?
Yeah, I'm fine. Damn these CVA guys, I'm trying to help. Forgot what I was saying. It's probably saying something hilarious though.
Oh, it was. I'm just sorry. It's a lot of information to take in, and I'm gonna jump around here for a second, and we're gonna jump back to what you're talking about. How a third party can ninja or a defender can ninja a new iHub in after it blows up.
Yep. So that's a really good mechanic for the Duality playtest. It's not super useful for the non-Duality thing because, like, if you lose your iHub, all the upgrades die in it anyways.
Right.
But you can essentially just stall out all capture mechanics by just sitting in your one station and just spamming iHubs whenever they explode every 2 days.
Wow.
Like, you lose your upgrades, but who cares? You can just still spam it.
Right. But say me in Goons form, my iHub just get destroyed, so I drop a new one. Basically anyone can Entosis that, right?
Yeah.
It's not like only I can Entosis it because I dropped it.
Yeah, it's owned by an NPC space. It's owned by an NPC corporation called SCC.
Mm-hmm.
And the first person to get an uncontested Entosis thingy on it.
Which there's no warm up, or there is a warm up.
There's a warm up. There's still a warm up, and the first person, and like, if there are multiple alliances there, then it stalls out the capture process, right? So, if someone from Goons is Entosising it, and someone from PL is Entosising it, like, even if you had only 1 minute left to go, and I just started mine, then it just stalls out until you kill or jam my Entosis ship.
I'm going to be killing so many blues that think they're trolling by fitting in the.
Well, it's pretty easy to spot them out. That's
good. So guys, if you're ever one of my fleets and you think you're funny and they're going to counter Entosis while we're trying to capture something, I'm not even going to warn you. You're just dead.
Just getting fragged days.
So many kill mails. All right. So then next up, so you talked about stations, Freeport, command nodes, getting blown up by Burn Eden, so I can't show you that.
So the one thing about the command nodes is that we have
10 plus 2 for iHub/TCU sniping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a warm-up cycle for a T2 mod, which is 2 minutes. Unless it's a capital, then it's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just a 10-minute initial cycle.
Man, we should just sign in super tank triage carriers for every single node, and then have them fit a Sino as well. And then whichever one starts getting attacked, we sign in one fleets to those.
Yeah. So I mean, you can see what they had in mind with the what's it called, the Phoebe mechanics, the jump mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Because if that didn't change and you just had just people.
You'd just be Titan bridging everything.
Just have one Archon on every node, and whenever one gets dropped, the other 50 just like blink onto that one instantly. Like, that would suck, right? That would be a huge advantage to.
Wow, man, there's so much stuff to learn for this system.
Yeah, it's essentially factional warfare, except you have to use a module instead of orbit the beacon. But
is faction warfare Entosis now as well, or is it still orbit?
No. Faction warfare is still, you go into a complex and you orbit the thing.
Okay.
But it's the same type of idea, right? It's just a huge improvement because the faction warfare has a bunch of sort of really gimmicky shit that you can do. You can just take an interceptor and just orbit really fast and then run away, or cloak, or warp.
Well, let's do a quick rundown real quick of what we've covered so far. So let me. I lost my notepad. whatever. All right, so we get T1 Entosis Links. So the warm-up cycle for that, on a subcapital ship, is what, 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes for
5
Tech 1.
minutes.
And it's really
5
easy
minutes.
to fit the T1 Entosis module. It doesn't hurt your cap that much. You still need 1 stront per cycle, right?
Yeah, 1 strut per cycle. Is that the same for T2?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the cycles are shorter, so...
Alright, let me open this so I can just kind of read off the stats for people wanting to get a recap of not watch the entire thing. So, activation costs for T1, 50 gigajoules, whatever the fuck GJ stands for, I don't remember. Optimum range, 25 kilometers. That's a big deal compared to the T2.
Yeah, T2 is 250.
250. Activation time, 300 seconds or 5 minutes. Consumption stront in 1 unit. Fitting requirements, 1 CPU, 10 power grid. And then the Tech 2. The Tech 2, going backwards, 100 power grid instead of 10, and 10 CPU, so 10 times as much on the fitting cost for the Tech 2.
Yeah.
And then, what is it? It's 10 times the range.
Yep,
They're like multiplying by 10.
Yeah, I think they kind of like that system.
Yeah, multiplying, it's easy. We're just going to multiply everything by 10. Done. 2 minutes activation time, so that's a 2-minute warm-up cycle, and then that's when you start capturing, so it's a 3 minutes less than the other one.
Yeah.
And still 1 unit of stront. Okay. But
you end up using a little bit more stront using the T2 one.
because of faster cycles.
Yeah.
But you're also going to have bigger cargo, so it's not as big.
Yeah, well, I mean, presumably you're on a bigger ship, right? Yeah.
Let's see. Guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in chat and tag. I'm on Lastel today, so tag Lastel, Laztel, and I will go ahead and get them answered. If you have any questions for Elise, myself, whatever, specify, and we'll get them answered. We also have Tappets in chat, which Tappets is the current pro on FozzieSov.
Yeah, Tappets is one of like the 5 super active PL dudes who did basically all the work. And I don't know where our little map is. Hold on, for the duality contest, so I can do like a little EP and flexing. But
EP and flexing.
let's see it. Let's see, where is it?
Oh man. Let's see how to understand. First question: how do I understand FozzieSov? Good question, buddy. I'll let you know when I find out.
Well, it's essentially faction warfare in NLSEC with much better mechanics.
Thanks, Randus, man. I'm testing it with followers. If people want to see a sub ticker the same way, we might do the sub ticker. We'll see though, because subs also get a shout out and all that. But we'll see if there's room for that. When can you buy a TMC t-shirt? The store for TMC swag is set up. We're doing some test prints to make sure the quality of the shirts is good, and then it will be open. There's some good shirts coming out. The rip emote I had made into a shirt, and I've ordered one, so hopefully it'll get here soon and I can wear it on stream.
Swag.
Have you seen the rip emote?
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's so good. So good.
Okay,
let's see.
here is I'll get to you in Skype.
And then Obsidian Crow just asked in chat. We're asking Tappets. I'll just link this there. He said, what's the best ship in his opinion, Tappet's opinion?
I know on Duality, Tappets used a Bastion Bastion Golem.
Mm-hmm.
And a Chimera just to back him up if things happened.
Yeah.
But I think just any tanky...
Well, I think the Bastion Marauders will still get used a lot in this current soft system, or at least in the next month or two. I think you'll see them a lot for outer edges of space, because they can't be E-Ward, right? I'm pretty sure Bastion can be E-Ward.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get E-Ward. That's the big thing, right?
And with the Tech 2 module, you just go and chill, and you tank. You get like a Varger or something, and that way you don't worry about cap, and you just tank forever.
Yeah.
So I think that will be a strong tactic. but eventually people will start responding with enough force to break tanks, because
troll Entosising is actually kind of awkward to do, I'd say. Because I mean, it's sort of effective, but not really.
It depends on
it's really easily countered. Yeah. So essentially, I think the overarching strategy is to find a place where bad guys live, get your main fleet of everyone and camp them in, or just find a natural choke point in the constellation, like we were looking at for Head. Just find the SVM, whatever, put your fleet there, and then just send out really cheap frigates or cruisers, fight cruisers, because they're easier, to Entosis stuff. And then just hope that no one attacks you, and then if they do, you respond by sending some dudes over that way. But I mean, Eve is going to adapt somehow. We're kind of unpredictable that way, Eve players, so who knows exactly how it's going to work.
Let's see.
But so I'm in F9E bouncing saves because they're probing me and shit, and it's 14 minutes until the system is no longer vulnerable.
But since they haven't Entosed it back,
they haven't Entosed it back. So
can you see that over the entire system? Can you see the little circle thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I still wish they'd say how much time is left. There needs a timer on the little circle that says it.
Yeah. Well, it's different for the attacker and the defender, right? But I wish they did have like at least a percentage thing around it so I could do the math.
Math. Ha.
Okay.
Ha.
Now we just have to guess at the circle size.
Just like old times, siege mode and all that. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, any more questions? Any more questions? Triple ASP Varger, I guess Triple ASP Golem still be good. With the Buffalo heavy missiles, you could go like rapid heavy missiles Golem or something. Zonk nerds.
Oh, apparently, according to this dude called Night Scheme, it's supposed to tell you the time to capture, not just a thing. But that thing's broken.
Okay, cool. That's good to know, Night Scheme. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for reading the dev blogs, because obviously we didn't.
Oh, the dev blogs are long. They do see those things.
I skimmed through it, and after I read the first paragraph, I was like, scroll. Can someone relink the calculator? I can. I should have it up in a window somewhere around here. Nope, that's not it. Urandus, can you link it, please? I found it. We're good. Yeah, Astro got it too. All right. But I think that's. I think we've pretty much covered it all. I mean, can you think of anything else? Anything jump out at you that we didn't go over?
No, I think we stumbled across everything pretty well. Like we got there eventually. It'll be very interesting for the first month or so, because I think people are just gonna try it out, just Entosis shit, just to see what happens. And I'm not sure defenders are gonna care that much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And we're just gonna sit back and kind of watch how things play out.
Yeah, so I think a bunch of regions are just gonna burn down, and then it'll start new. Like new guys will move in there eventually.
Yeah, you won't see. I don't think you'll see much from the Imperium over the next week or two, maybe longer, just to see what happens. I think people are gonna kind of, typically with these big patches, they'll just sit back and let people make their own moves.
Yeah, well, I know MOA announced that they're gonna do some elite guerrilla warfare and mess with your stations or systems. And,
we'll have to see. Maybe the new soft system is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Be the end of Imperium. The end of days. Can I join PL whenever the Imperium disbands? Can I join Habit when Imperium disbands?
Yeah, for sure. You can come chill in NPC space with us. Spaces for chumps.
Spaces for chumps.
We'll just dance and bathe in Dysprosium. Kill some Blood Raiders. Maybe find Triclera. Get some dank loot.
Oh man, dank loot. Dank mayonnaise. Oh my god. Alright. we're going to call it a night with that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Newbee Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday with new player stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can mail me in game. You can also message me on Twitter at LazTell, or you can throw a message at Elise, which is at Elise Randolph. I will type that in chat.
Yeah, I actually respond to all the mails that people send me. No one sends me shit, but I mean, if you're confused, you have questions about the game. I like talking about the game a lot, as you can tell from my rambling. Yeah. So just ask.
I'm saying I actually get questions every once in a while talking about like FC stuff and tactics. Like I get a question like how do we like we're a smaller alliance. How do we kill Proteus fleet and when typically we're using battleships? And he was talking about his TFI fits and stuff like that. And I explained to him how Proteuses worked.
People just assume I'm trolling when I say I'm really helpful and I'm trying to be nice. So like, oh, that guy's he's just gonna make fun of us as soon as we ask him a question, so they don't ask me shit.
Oh no! See, that's the hardest part with Newbee Tuesday is it's been a lot of work getting people to realize that we're here to ask questions and don't be afraid because nothing's really dumb.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. When are we going to drop the rest of Mythic? Apparently we already blew to PL. Like I'm blue to release right now. It's a thing. Which apparently, according to Elise, we're not blue back. So
I think you just set me blue by accident. To be honest.
I checked it. You're setting a terrible standing with me. Wait, hold on. Actually,
maybe you changed your.
Maybe I know what it
Shower's
is.
Revenge is like the Sour Shower overview pack or whatever.
It's
terrible standing to blue and shows them.
There's an Elise Randolph 2 in the game, by the way.
That's me.
Oh, okay.
Though Elise Rudolph is not me.
Yep.
Or Elise Randolph with an F is also not me.
Oh, that's why. Haha! So, any fleet I've put up since setting Pandemic Legion blue, has you guys have been able to join.
Nice. I didn't notice that. I had the Evoke set blue personally for like 2 years, probably 4 years ago. So every time I made a fleet, they could technically see it. It's pretty great.
Oh man! All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much, Elise, for coming on. Love having you here, bro. Can't wait to see you in Vegas.
Yeah. It'll be fun times, and I'm glad to come on to the show.
Yeah, man. And hopefully Jeff will send me an invite to fantasy football this year because the B-R 5 RBs need a league. You like that?
That's actually pretty good, honestly. That's pretty great. You have to actually draft 5 running backs, though.
Dude, it's gonna happen. But with that, guys, we're gonna sign out. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. I might actually be back on in about 30 minutes to play some World of Warships or some H1Z1 or something. I'm not sure yet. Maybe some Duck Game. We haven't done some Duck Game in a while. But other than that, we'll see you.
So long.
Goodbye. Where's the stop button? We can't find it.
You did it.